Tom, can you hear us?
Pollinators.
Yep, good morning.
Okay, everybody. Well, it's 9:30, so let's call the meeting to order.
Thank you.
And did we do the affirmation of public notice?
Yep.
All right. Would you do the roll call for us?
I will. Okay, John Pedretti,
Here.
David Strudhoff,
Here.
Bruce Kilmer,
Here.
Nathaniel Slack,
Here.
Patrick Sullivan,
Here.
Katie Helseth, here, Tom Weston,
Here.
Karen Dahl,
Here.
and Kevin Larson.
Here.
All present.
All right.
How about that?
Okay, now let's approve the minutes. Did anybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Does anybody want to approve them?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes for the last meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Audience to visitors, do we have anybody here or online that would like to talk to us? No? All right, move on from that. All right. Review the voucher payment summary.
Yes, so in your packets, and I sent this in the email, is a voucher summary of what was paid out of this department for April. So the total amount paid $20,190.96. Everything is budgeted, of course, otherwise it would be going through other committees and full board. Nothing out of the ordinary. Grant reimbursements that I'm working on with some partners, where they get reimbursed for their time from the grant. And then design and layout of your visitor guide and photography for the visitor guide, which you all have a copy of in your packets as well.
I have a question. Your predecessor must have had some time and mileage in April.
Yep.
Or that's not here.
Nope, that will get paid on Friday, so that
Okay,
will
next
show up
one.
on the May budget.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mhm.
No, we'll definitely, yes, pay.
Yeah.
Any questions about
Mhm.
the voucher summary?
And we don't do these because it goes to finance.
Mhm.
So
We don't approve it.
we don't approve
Yeah.
it. We used to, but that's new policy. So
Yeah.
if you're wondering why we don't approve them, that's why.
Mhm. You can slip anything through now.
Mr. Chairman, would you be kind enough at the next, it's a little out of the agenda, that everybody could go around here and do some.
We're actually-
I don't.
We're gonna do that next.
There you go.
Wow.
I don't know any of it.
Yeah, so now we're to regular business. Before we go around, or we get going with anything, I'd like you to introduce yourself and just say a little bit about what you're doing or who you are. I'm John Pedretti, District 6. My previous background is I worked at Menards for 25 years, so I have a lot of retail experience, and I own the Party Barn in Vernon Vineyards. So I've got a little bit of entrepreneurial experience too, but that's who I am. Karen?
I'm Karen Dahl, a former county board member for Viroqua. And I was the chair of the Tourism Promotion Economic Development Committee for years. It seemed like a century or so. And was in private business. Everybody knew Chuck or Dahl Pharmacy. And Dahl's have been here for 4 generations, 4 or 5. Yeah. Anyway, I'm happy to see new faces, new blood, and welcome.
I'm Bruce Kilmer, District 5 over by Coon Valley. Lived here in Vernon County my whole life. Grew up on a farm west of Viroqua on West 56. And I've been a local real estate broker here for about 30 years.
Pat Sullivan, District 18, it's northern Hillsborough and then everything north of Hillsborough. My wife and I own a couple of AFHs, some rental properties, so I guess I don't know what else to elaborate on that.
I'm Kevin Larson. I live halfway between Westby and Viroqua, out up by Three Chimneys. We farm and I do seed sales along on top of that. I used to be on the county board, I think, for 16, 18 years,
Yeah.
as vice chair for 6, I think. Is that next, Karen?
Didn't get anything accomplished.
Yeah, right. So, and then Dave, I guess, is on with him too. So good to see all you new people taking interest in being on the board.
I'm Nathaniel Slack, District 7. It's kind of roughly Liberty Pole to Reedstown. I do organic farm audits for a living under my own LLC, and I teach soils at Western in La Crosse.
You interested in pollinators?
Everybody should be.
That'll be on the next agenda.
Yeah.
I'm Katie Helseth, so I manage Riverbank in Westby. I've been there about 10 years. Live in Westby now, grew up in Westby. I think I've been on this committee maybe 9 years. I know we've been on it a long time together. So yeah, again, welcome to everybody here.
I'm David Strudoff. I was served on this board from 16 through 20. And then got off. We got gerrymandered kind of out. So after he went from 29 to 19, which is fine, but there was an opening, so I was able to get back on. So I was really excited about that opportunity. Former school superintendent. I served for DeSoto school districts for 3 years, and then I was a superintendent of schools at New Glarus for 2 years. And then I retired. And currently I'm working with Lions Clubs International as their state. Basically, I put on all their seminars for their governors coming in, things of that nature, leadership training, things of that nature through servant leadership initiatives. So that's what I do now for them. So,
Tom, do you want to tell us?
Good morning. Tom Weston. I work with Citizens First Bank. Been with the bank since 1987. Been on the committee, I don't know, Katie, a long time.
All your life.
Glad to see the work that's been accomplished to date and looking forward to more good things. We're doing good stuff, so appreciate it.
All right.
I'm Larkin Breckel. I'm the new Economic Development and Marketing Coordinator here at Vernon County. I grew up in Vernon County in between Coon Valley and Westby. I studied communications at UW La Crosse, spent a couple of years teaching abroad, and then when home called, I moved back in 2017, and I've had some experience working in small business and startup, and then I've spent the past 3 years working for the Viroqua Chamber. So I'm really excited to get to know everybody and get my feet wet here.
Hi, so I'm Hannah Altmus. I am UW-Madison Division of Extension in Vernon County's Community Economic Development Educator. It can't get any longer than
I'd sign up for your classes, but I can't.
It gets smaller and smaller the longer it goes. But yes, so I am actually not native to Wisconsin. So I am from neighboring Iowa and born and raised in south side of Des Moines. And so I have kind of been entrenched my entire life. My cousins own a successful jewelry store in Clock Tower Square, which none of you will know where that is at all. But
I'm from Iowa. So.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so they are Herman's Fine Jewelry is my cousin's shop over there. So and they're now in the transition process to make it legacy, and they're passing it down to my other cousins, so their kids. And my mom's always done dried floral arrangements all my life, so she's sold those, done those. Now she's retired and just does them for fun for various charities and things like that. So, but basically my role, are we getting into the role? I'm sidetracked now. That title always gets me. So Basically, my role is to provide public education out to the county on various economic development trends or topics that specifically are geared towards entrepreneurs, but within that scope of economic development in general. So if it's like you'll see later on in my report, but I'm in the process of planning a regional rural housing summit for 2025. So.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Amy Oliver. I am the Community Development Director for the county. I've been with the county since 2021. So I provide leadership to the Community Development Department, which is Sue Larkin, and then Amanda, who is our grants assistant. I really oversee, so write and manage some larger grants that impact multiple county departments or multiple local governments throughout the county. And then we'll start taking the lead on some housing, childcare, and broadband initiatives moving forward as well.
What did you do before you came here?
For 25 years, I was with the La Crosse Area Family YMCA. So I started in high school and then moved through a variety of roles from membership director, development director, and then branch director of the La Crosse YMCA. And then my husband and I relocated up here to his family farm, and I didn't want to commute all the time. So this opportunity opened up in August of 21, and here I am.
Awesome.
We're all better for that too.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for anybody yet? No? About what they're doing? When I do these, now that I'm the chair, if you have something to say, jump in and say it. You know, that's okay. I don't want you to think that you have to be called on or anything like that. So some
Karen, she always bumps.
some committees are goofy that way, but this one is not. So if you have something to say, just try not to talk over everybody else. But all right. So moving on to regular business.
We did introductions.
We did introductions. Okay. Overview and discussion of Economic Development Committee.
Yeah, so I just thought it would be great. Well, one, I sent out this kind of overview in your packet and in your emails of the committee, just who's on the committee, what the purpose is, some of the key initiatives that we launched in 2023. So this committee was very busy in 2023. And in the email version of this, all the links that are at the bottom are active. So you can click on those links and go right to our economic development loan program to view what that's about, the community development grant program, the visitor guide, and so forth. But we will do our best, all the returning committee members and supporting staff here, as we move through agenda items and we start talking about certain things, to give a summary to everyone so we can bring everyone up to speed on what we're talking about, so you're not lost, right? And if we forget, please stop us and remind us to let you know what we're talking about. But I'm going to look for the overview and the purpose of the committee. I'm going to look to the returning committee members. Like, what would you like to share with our new faces and what this committee is all about?
I can jump in.
Yeah.
Of course. Study after study after study. As what do we need? What are we lacking? And the two things that really are important for economic development is adequate housing stock, because we can't, we just don't have it. And that's for, the workers or employers, whatever. So housing stocks. The other thing is childcare. We're grossly understaffed. There's, very few places that workers can leave their children and know that they're safe. And that's, I think, a main focus with economic development is encourage development that supports, a new workforce or housing. And I think I keep that in mind a lot. Anyway, I pass it on.
Oh, I'll agree with Karen that daycare, I've had the privilege of working with a daycare center, a large one in Onalaska. It's called North Star. And it gave me a great appreciation of what it takes to keep something like that up and running and keep it staffed. Those people work very, very hard. When they go in the morning, they never know. I don't know how many sick kids they're going to have dropped off at their doorstep, but there's a lot more than just opening the door every day and just having the kids come in. I mean, the codes and stuff that they have to keep up on, it's a lot of work. And I think if this committee, if there's anything we can do to build more affordable daycare, it's gonna bring more people that wanna work back into the workforce. And that's a big deal.
I can just mention from my standpoint, a lot of what we do is support businesses, whether it's new or existing. So from the bank standpoint, it's hard for businesses to either start a business or expand if they don't have equity or the cash down payment. So this, I think, is one of the most active committees in the state of Wisconsin as far as funding and helping businesses actively. So we help bridge the down payment gap, which brings additional tax revenue, obviously, because they're able to open. We've got two great things going on in our county with the Viroqua Business Development Park and the Westby Business Development Park. So we have a lot of great opportunity to bring new businesses to the area, which again brings increased tax revenue. And then an exciting update to daycare. I don't know if you guys have heard, the Westby School District partnered with Ashley Anderson, who is one of my best friends. And so she's going to be expanding her daycare into the Westby School District. And so that's super exciting. The school has been very supportive and creating space for her. And that will be great for Vernon County residents.
How many kids will she have, do you know?
I don't, I think as many as she can. I think they'll.
As many staff as she has.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. So they're looking for staffing now. So if you know of anybody.
And the
in that-
school district's currently taking emails, requests from parents, because I'm in the Westby School District. And so, yeah, they're looking at ages between 6 weeks and 10 years old. So it'll be, yeah, it'll be a really good setup. And it's going to be, I believe, in the district office area. So they'll be opening it on the school grounds. Yeah.
When you talk about startups, how active is that incubator in the old NCR building? What's going on out there?
Really?
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on.
They have 28 businesses that, some moved there, like Kickapoo Coffee, Wonder State Coffee. They started with a little roast. I don't know what they call it, roastery. And they moved in to the depot here at Viroqua, the train depot, and now they're at the Food Enterprise Center. But there's so many. I said 28 businesses are there. Sue Noble is an amazing economic engine.
She's an awesome grant writer.
Yeah, and when I was chair of this committee, we'd go over there once a year so everybody could walk through and get a tour and to see, what's there. And also they have an inventors and entrepreneur program once a month. So that, yeah, it's really good. And we have a great economic staff here too. A team.
And there's an I&E club flyer in their package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have anything to add?
No, I was just going to add to Bruce's comment. We did have the opportunity last year to get out and tour the NCR VEDA building and what's going on there. So it was time well spent from my perspective. So, possibly later in the year, certainly for new members, it's best with boots on the ground. Maybe that can be something we can coordinate again. I know Sue and the board are very proud of what's happening out there and what they continue to build on. So just maybe something to keep in mind for future reference. So.
Not sure. I think just that was a great summary. I think just to overall, this committee, what we focus on is how can we best support and get resources to our business community, to our local governments throughout the county. What new initiatives or programs can the county play a role, in what is our role with housing and childcare and so forth. And so those are discussions that we have and will continue to have moving forward. So looking for everyone's input and ideas, definitely.
One of the things that I know just from being involved in economic development, we can't look forward to Ford moving here or, some of the big, corporations or multinational. They're not going to come to Viroqua or, Western
We're getting
Wisconsin.
Aldi's though. We're going to get an Aldi's.
Yes. But the thing is we need to, and we are targeting the smaller businesses, our entrepreneurs, helping with initial startups, writing a business plan. I mean, there's a lot of people don't have a clue. And so, like I said, don't look at Ford moving here or,
Yeah, mid-size
yeah,
industrial, light
yeah,
industrial, like
exactly.
Coon Valley's done a great job with the
Mhm.
3, 4 businesses they brought in. They're
Yep. Yeah.
great places. And but like everybody said, it's a whole trickle down effect. So you try and get light business here, you try and support the housing, you try and support the health, child care, healthcare. It's all rolled into one. And, this committee or economic development of all the municipalities and everything has to come together because that's kind of how it all rolls together.
Yeah.
One falls into another.
Yep.
Got a new ag instructor coming to town. She can't find housing. So I guess hopefully she has now, but it's improving.
All right.
The expectations piece. So every month you can expect to get an email from me, usually the Thursday or Friday before our meeting, just to remind you of the meeting. I'll send you the agenda and then attach any of the meeting materials along with that email. We will have the most productive meetings if everyone can take a look at those materials prior to this meeting and just come with some thoughts and ideas or questions that you might have. We would love everyone to engage, right, at these committee meetings. We're all here, right, for a reason. You're interested in being on this committee. All ideas are welcome, viewpoints are welcome. We get into some spirited conversation, like that's welcome too, as long as we remain, right, mutually respectful. So I know that's something John really wants to encourage everyone to do.
Get involved, yeah.
Are there any questions?
All right, well, then we're going to move on to John Bingle from Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission. John, why don't you tell them what you do a little bit too before you start?
Right.
For the new people.
Yeah. And if you could introduce yourself and then a little overview of the loan, like that would be wonderful.
I'll start. John Bingle, I'm the Executive Director of the Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission. And we cover 9 counties, 7 along the river, from Pierce all the way down to Crawford. And then we pick up Monroe and Jackson.
Why do you have to have that committee?
This committee is one of 9 in the state, one of 9 regional planning commissions. We're actually established by statute. And our charge is really to help communities, so from counties all the way down to townships, do planning and community and economic development. So some of the big plans that we're engaged in are comprehensive plans. Well, the state actually has put into statute that all of the governmental units, again, from towns to counties, are supposed to have an updated comprehensive plan every 10 years. And the plan is really kind of a master plan. It has 9 key elements, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But you're looking out in the world 20 years, but then updating every 10. And it really should give the communities a track to run on. We don't want our partners to just have it be a checkbox. We'd really like this to be a working document that they're using to kind of drive their communities towards what they want them to be. The other things we do are outdoor recreation plan, hazard mitigation plans. In fact, we did your counties last year, and some of you may see your emergency management person going around because he's now in the process of getting resolutions. He's already gotten the county, and he's gotten, I believe, maybe 2/3 of the townships. But it has to be adopted by all of the governmental entities. And then the other thing, we also last year were one of 2 organizations that did a new updated economic development strategy for the county. So kind of looking at all of these things and coming up with some suggestions or recommendations, and then the committee actually blended the 2 to come up with what went to the county board back in February as that was adopted kind of as the drive for the county for hopefully the next 5 years.
And a lot of that's really important because if we don't have these plans, we don't qualify for a lot of the grants. And we're, this department as far as the money that we actually have to give to like different businesses and stuff, what is our budget? The 25,000 or 30,000? The budget we give to the different different organizations, like
It's around 15.
15,000, yeah. So we don't have like a lot of money to give to places, but when we have grants, then we can actually, spread those out and do stuff like that, so.
That's kind of the long and short of it. John really hit it on the head. But some of the specifics, like the hazard mitigation plan, is really important when we do have some of these natural disasters, because that has us in step with both the Wisconsin Emergency Management and FEMA. The outdoor recreation plan is really the basis that the DNR uses for their grants. And then now comprehensive plans, when you get to housing, earlier in the year, the governor and the legislature passed like $525 million for housing initiatives that they gave to WIDA. And one of the things you have to do is either have an updated comprehensive plan or at a minimum, an updated housing section of your comprehensive plan to even apply for those. So it is important, but as I said, the real importance is these should be tools for communities to really better run their areas. Right. Good.
Perfect, yeah.
All right, now to the work. Should I stay here or should I go by the table? Where do you want?
Wherever you want to be.
Well, let's start with in your packet. You should have gotten a statement. And you guys are the first Thursday of the month, so from time to time, it's kind of tricky when we go early. We don't get the actual bank numbers until late morning on the first. But
This right here is a thing that we retooled the last 2 years. It took us to get this retooled and out so that can loan money out the way we do it now.
and if there's something that you have a question on, just ask. I'll just walk you from top to the bottom. So at the beginning of April, we had $389,003.96 in the account. And then this is with Ultra Federal Credit Union. So being a credit union, you also have to have a share account. So that's what the $5 represents, is just our membership. We actually moved over 11 cents that we use the share account kind of as our intake account for automatic payments and some interest accrued. So Sarah, my office manager, just moved that over this month. So we're back to 5 in the share account. And then you can see the payments that we'd received. Now, last month, there was a request that we add the principal and interest just so you can get an idea of what was paid on that loan. So you can see that the earlier, newer loans, they're obviously paying more towards interest than principal. And there's another little factor just to be aware of. The only loans that we've actually initiated on this are Baddox Woodworking and Mitchell Real Estate. So we did those last year in December. So the other loans have varying interest rates and varying terms on those loans. So it's kind of a mixed bag of what we've inherited.
Can you tell them what our interest rate is currently?
Yeah.
On our cash?
Yep. No, for the loans.
The current interest rate structure per our loan manual is we're doing 60% of prime. So prime's at 8.5, 60% of that puts the loans at 5.1%. So the idea being, as Katie mentioned, is we're trying to help these businesses. Really, the most useful tool that these revolving loan funds can do is using the gap financing, where you've got a really good project, but maybe the person is starting out or they just don't have the cash. So they need that little extra to help make the financial institution feel comfortable, and it gets the deal across the finish line. We're going to talk more about that when I get into the next report, when we go into closed sessions. But so we're trying to help these businesses save a little money on interest, but then as an organization, we're still kind of competitive. So the money that we have sitting in Ultra right now is earning somewhere around 4.8%. So I mean, even though, yes, we're very community minded, we also have to be fiscally conscious. And it can be, it'll be up for debate here, but when we talk about interest rates, we're still lending and we're taking risk. So if you can earn 4.8 with absolutely no risk, perhaps we should charge at least a little more than that to put that money out in the loan.
One other thing that people need to know is newbies, is all of our loans are collateralized. So it's not like, investing in blue sky.
On that thing, it says payments from the wrong account. What was that?
Okay, I was gonna get to that.
Oh,
Not a Sarah mistake. Sarah filled out the deposit slip with the right account. She's very good at that. But with the teller person, put it in, we have an account with Alfred as well. And they put it in our account. So of course, we didn't see that until we were trying to create this form yesterday. And Sarah calls me 7:30 and says, hey, it messed up. Just call our person. They took care of it. And you'll also get the interest because you notice they paid actually on the 9th. So the 21 days of interest came to a whole $6.26. But Ultra moved everything yesterday. So you'll see it on the May report that it did get over. So they did make their payment. We made whole. But we're about full transparency. Of course, I don't know if Linda's on the, not Linda, but treasurer.
Karen?
Karen also has access to the account, so we would never want to hide anything. Full transparency. So we just want you to know that way when you see the statements, everything adds up. So with all those payments, excluding the ones that went to the wrong account, you also had interest of $1,408.75. So the current balance at the end of April was $394,116.20. So that's the cash. Now the next section are the actual outstanding loans. And we also had a request to add another bit of information to each of these. And you'll see the numbers on the left. And that's when the loans are set to end. Now, some of these loans that were done were actually done with longer terms. Like, I want to say it was Borgans and Old Town. They're like 20-year notes.
Wow.
Yeah. So what we're doing now in the new manual is if it's real estate, we can amortize the loan for 20 years, but we do a 5-year balloon. And then we don't have a prepayment penalty. So when we do close a loan, we'll give them the amortization schedule, whatever their term is, to show what the minimum payment is. But then we also give them the 5-year amortization so they can see that, if I pay a little more, I could really either pay this thing off in 5 years or at least have it down. So when the committee says, okay, it's time for this loan to mature, they could pay us off.
And you reset the interest rate at that time then?
Well,
At the 5-year, whatever it is.
ideally, the business has grown and improved and they'll be able to pay us off.
Right.
But if for some reason they don't, then we'll be bringing it back to the committee to say, do you want to renew this loan? And if so, what's the current interest rate? So you're right. So at that point, if you renewed it for another 5, we would reset to current interest rates. So you can see we've got a mix there. The good thing is everybody's been paying. And we have outstanding loans, $533,430.36. And then Sarah was going to take this off, but we left loans paid off last year just because we had the change with all the new committee members. So we just wanted to leave that on one more month. So you can see that last year we did have 3 companies pay off their previous loans. And then the 2 new ones last year, as I mentioned, Bad Axe Woodworking and Mitchell Real Estate. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, didn't we approve somebody that River Valley, did their stuff going here yet, or?
Well, I was gonna get to that in the closed session.
Okay.
If you want to talk about that in open session, you might want to wait till.
Okay, well, we'll wait on that one.
I was just thinking too, the new people might not know, and some of us might not remember. What does Mitchell Real Estate do, and what are we doing there? And Bad Axe Woodworking?
Okay, Mitchell Real Estate is actually kind of a holding company. It's not uncommon for companies to have, say, some of their assets held in one company and then maybe lease the things back to the main company. So in the Westby Industrial Park, LAX Manufacturing, they actually built a new facility. In fact, I don't think it's officially open yet, but they're getting closer.
John Mitchell, right?
Yes. And he's actually from down near Ferryville.
Yeah, he's got a plant in Minnesota right now.
He does, and that's where his plant was, and then he moved this over. I think he also had a son-in-law that had a small business outside of Westby. Manufacturing that was growing.
Very good businessman.
Yeah, very, very sharp person. And with this one, as we talk about it, you guys will have to decide as the committee, because we've had some good debates about this. But when it gets back to the purpose of this fund and how you use it, on one hand, we love having good loans. I'm not here. I'm going to do everything I can do to bring you. If I think has a low probability of success, I'm going to tell you that. And obviously, LAX is a good example of a wonderful business, very strong, very financially sound. Didn't really need us to do. He was doing that business anyway. But I think some of the people felt a little pressure because people think every time a business grows, they should get incentives. And whatever side of the coin you're on that, if we have them and you can use them, I think that is great. But in this case, you know, he was doing the business. If we gave him the loan or not, it wasn't going to change the outcome of that business. But I think that people felt pressure because even like the state, we would get calls from WEDC. Why aren't you doing something for LAX? Well, they'd already bought the land. They'd already started building the building. And all of these incentives, for the most part, are predicated on what we affectionately refer to as the but-for clause. And that is, I would do this project but for this obstacle. So the incentives are supposed to remove the obstacle to allow the business to happen. So there was no but for with LAX. But again, very strong business, and the group felt, you know what, there's nothing wrong with having an excellent A+ loan in the portfolio. So that's why we did it. And also as, hey, he was talking to us about, he loves this area, and he is thinking about maybe bringing his headquarters. He's got several businesses. And again, is it 100 more jobs? No, but those 20 or 30 more executive back office jobs are really paying jobs. And we love to have headquarters in our communities because that's where the decisions are made. So,
and he has a lot of clients and customers that come visit his facilities from out of the area. And of course that supports, you know, restaurants and hotels and other things.
Excellent point. Yeah. So we want to be pro-business. So he's a wonderful business person. We're glad to have him in West. But
every time you do a $250,000 loan, how many small businesses are not going to get that money? That's the big.
That's the challenge, and that's what we were faced with last week. Because with that fund got down to 386,000. Now we had 2 loans presented last month that each wanted 250,000. So we just could not do that, and that's where, for one of them, again, a wonderful business, very community-minded business owners. I mean, in my research, they do a lot for the area because they also build housing. I look. So for us to want to do something, and you guys put me out there, and I try to represent you as best I can. But also, I knew they weren't going to be happy. They asked for 250. They're a very good business. There's a feeling when you're a really good business and a good community citizen that maybe when you don't get these things, maybe you're not appreciated for what you do for the community. So it's a challenge. I did my best to explain to them, no, Everyone was very complimentary. And again, if we were still sitting on 800,000 to lend out,
Okay.
it probably would have been a slam dunk. But that's just not where we are right now. When we get into the closed session, we're gonna talk about two more. The new one's asking for 250, and the one that I'm bringing back from last month that we wanted more information on. They'd still like to try to get 150. So we're gonna be back in the same discussion. All right, any questions on this report? Is there anything else you want to see or?
I have a question. You know,
Yes.
we're in a new year, and are there any monies, grants or whatever that would be replenishing our funds?
What a great question. Now, there's several ways to answer that question, because the money that you do have in this fund that came from and block grant fund was actually defederal. So as we talked about when we did the manual, that gave us more flexibility to come up with our rule. For instance, the 60% of prime. Like currently right now, I have one revolving loan fund that covers all 9 counties that we have to follow the EDA guideline for 70% prime. So that would make the interest rate even a little higher. So when you take money from some of these groups, there might be new strings. Although I am trying to research 2 new sources I just learned about, Dairyland Power actually has some revolving loan fund dollars. It's targeted primarily towards manufacturing and food processing, not food producers. So we can't go directly to help farmers, but like the food enterprise zone. And I know Sue already knows about this, because that's the other thing about the food enterprise center is they're focused on really food related businesses.
Yeah.
So they've got kind of a niche within that entrepreneur. And then also WEDC. I just met a guy Tuesday that told me about some funds that he thought might be helpful for these revolving loans. So if I learn more, that application period starts July 1st, and it is competitive. So they look like a fit. The thing is we need to have some cash to use as a match. So if we don't have cash in the fund, which again, we're here to loan money out. So not telling you not to do a loan so we have cash, because we could get cash from other places. And one of the things we might want to do in the county is financial partners to help us recapitalize. So there are other things we can do to try to bring more money in. So that's something to look at.
All right. So, seeing so we might have some things to talk about in the closed session. Does anybody want to make a motion to go to closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session.
Second.
What?
You should do a roll call.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna do a roll call vote to see if we go into closed session.
John Pedretti,
Yes.
Davis Trudeau,
Yes.
Bruce Kilmer,
Yes.
Nathaniel Slack.
Yep.
Patrick Sullivan,
Yes.
Katie Housetuck. Yes. Tom Weston,
Yes.
Mind numbing sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I like the, mind numbing is a good way to put it.
Yeah. You don't get to sleep during this committee.
No, you don't.
Were you on the board when Harry Bala was there? Hillsborough, he'd sit there and sleep.
Yeah.
John Redding was represented when I was John.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Just sound asleep. Man.
Yeah, Harry, or when he was waiting, he'd sit in his chair. Squeak, squeak.
You know, the difference, for me, it's been quite an experience because I remember,
You
I
went
came
to
from
29.
29, now that it is really different.
Mhm.
I've experienced it's just different.
Nice.
I'm still trying to figure out what the differences are, but it's a different feel, maybe a little bit more professional. Not that it was unprofessional.
No, but it was, they're homegrown.
The only way I try to explain it to my wife is that it was kind of like when we had 29, we were like 29 volunteers
Uh-huh,
who were volunteers providing a service.
yeah.
With 19, we were elected.
You're working.
You're working, yeah, it's a different situation. You actually had to run for the office this time, otherwise
What's that?
you had written in. So it's a little bit different. So I can't really explain, but it is a different feel.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's worse.
People online, if you're listening in right now, we're taking a short break and then we're gonna get back at it.
Huh.
But you remember the 29, we still had we did some good things.
So I'm just now.
One of the things that I remember the most,
I have to
the
fill
time
in.
about this
Yeah.
comprehensive
1 second
plan,
left and then I'll submit
Maynard
it.
Cox worked on it, Lynn
Plenty
Coyne,
of work time.
everybody. And our county board representatives, even when they were in the communities developing, they voted against it. I mean, who wants a comprehensive plan? God, it's like, and like I said, they worked on it and still voted against it.
Yeah, there's kind of a good old boys network.
Yeah.
That really is really
Yeah.
damaging to some degree.
It was,
So I think that's another thing that's kind of diluted a little bit
yeah.
compared to what we have now.
Yeah. When you were getting organic certified, did you go through Nick or?
I'm not certified. I do on-farm audits.
Oh, you
I
do?
contract with Nix and Mosa.
Okay.
I work with a few other companies.
When Dave Engel was running Nick, he asked, do you know anybody that needs a job? So I recommended 2 people at a party.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, help, right? I mean, my brother wants to help me. Yeah, well. Dave? Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Uh,
ready or?
Tom, can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, we're out of closed session now. Does anybody want to make a motion, Kevin? About
I second.
about the Westby wash?
We have to open the vote to open.
We have to vote open?
Oh,
All right, we,
No, we didn't.
we came out of closed session,
We
so I
voted.
would make a motion for 125,000 to Country Chick.
okay. There's a motion on the floor for $125,000 to Country Chicks. Is there a second for that?
I'd second that.
Daniel? Is there any discussion about it? Is there a reason that we're giving that money? You feel that it's important?
Well, the big reason you need to go back to why economic development was originally started, this committee, was job development and economic development. So there used to be this caveat with banking and then also with the side that you had to create so many jobs for so many dollars. So with the number of people that are looking to employ and bring new employment to the place, that's why I justify that money.
Okay. Anybody else have any other discussion? Anybody else? All right, all those in favor of giving Country Chicks $125,000 for the revolving loan program, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
And I will abstain.
You abstain? All right, motion passes. So can I have a motion about Westby Wash?
Who wants the burning cross on their line?
Is that, John, would that simply be a no action with communication? Or versus motion?
I would like to have some discussion about why we make the decision, so it's on the record.
Sure, okay.
Well, I'll second it. Did we,
didn't go in that
to bring it up?
Nobody made a motion yet.
Oh, I'll move that we bring up the discussion of the car wash in Westby.
They don't need a motion, just.
We would need a motion for action.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay,
So we're not doing it.
we're
I
gonna,
move that we take action on the car wash in Westby.
did we have a second on the car wash?
I'd second that too.
Okay, do we have any discussion about the car wash?
Yeah, I guess for me personally, the concern is the automation. There's zero job investment on our end there. So that's my hang up.
Anybody else have any other discussion?
Quality company, that's not the issue at all.
No.
At all. It was, I think I would agree with the discussions, the creation of jobs, things of that nature, which was kind of the heart of what we were about to even to begin with. We want to stay true to our belief systems for
Our mission.
Okay.
and our mission.
All right, so I guess the motion was to bring it up for action. And at this time, we have a second. The action is, do we?
We need a motion for the action.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we decline the Nordic Lanes proposal to participate in this grant program at this time.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second it.
All right.
Clarification on that, not involving.
Yeah, you better clarify, it's not part of Nordic Lanes, it's.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
The Westby Wash.
Westby Wash.
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
Westby Wash.
Uh-huh.
Please clarify that for the
Yeah.
record.
And emphasizing that it's not in any way prejudicial against them for any of the, but the fact that there are no jobs created by this, and that's one of our initial missions.
It's part of the discussion.
Yeah, it's part of the discussion.
So the action is the motion is to deny
That's it.
the loan at this time.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favor of denying the loan at this time for Westby Wash, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
And I will abstain.
All right, the motion passes. All right, got through it.
One.
Yep. River Valley Auto.
No,
We don't talk on that. We're not.
no, that's done.
It's gone.
Karen, it is done for the last time.
The jobs. High paying jobs.
We're getting those high paying jobs.
From River Valley without money, our money.
Yes.
Back to Jen.
All right. Department updates, community development. Amy.
I'm up first. Well, I have a couple, so just general updates and then to talk about the 2024 community development grants and the applicants that we received or submitted an application. First, just general updates. I'm working on onboarding Larkin, so she is well positioned to go out and hit the ground running. The visitor guides that you all have a copy of are available online and have been distributed throughout the county. Thank you to Amanda, who drove around and dropped them off at every municipality.
Do we have more of those?
Parks. Yep, and I still have a lot more here. So when they run out, they have an email to reach out to replenish, and then I have some.
Because mine are gone already.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep. And then we also contracted with Vector and Inc. to manage 2 rest areas in Columbia County and Juneau County, where they will keep those replenished at these rest areas. And then we also sent them to other welcome centers throughout Wisconsin and Platteville, Beloit, La Crosse, and so forth. So we have gotten them out, right? Yes. And they've been very well received. Great feedback so far. Let's see. Last month, we brought in Hattie Brown from Cooley Cap to talk with us a little about housing and what could the county's role look like and so forth. We asked about a housing study, like that's been something that's been brought up. I know the city of Viroqua is interested in that. And I had told Nate, hey, we're looking at a countywide housing study, so let me get back to you. I did reach out to Chris Hardy at Seven Rivers. I said, how could we best go about a countywide housing study? Is it just a countywide housing study? Do we help, local government do their own study? Is it kind of a combination? And he said most successfully counties will do a countywide study, but then some of the larger municipalities like the cities could contribute more funding to do for them to have a more in-depth portion or study of that. Yeah.
How much do these studies cost?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on the contractor. John, what does Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission charge for a housing study?
Really very cool.
I mean, estimate.
It really,
Right.
I think we could probably get one done. With 25.
And that's starting from scratch.
Yeah.
But we already have stuff done, so we could probably get it done for like 10 or 15.
Magic number. I didn't really have to crunch the numbers, but what I sent you one that my neighbors are doing for Crawford County. And it's pretty extensive. And that's kind of a model we work together to kind of see what are we trying to cover for that Crawford County one. So if I could send you, I think it's maybe New Glarus they did as a city, but that's the model.
Okay.
And see if that's going to meet your needs.
Sounds good. I can take a look at that. And I would look for some grant funding to help fund that study as well. So I think it's something we've been talking about. We have a lot of data in our new economic development strategies around population, age of population, housing, childcare and so forth. But I think a more in-depth study around housing and like, how could we actually provide direction? Like this is the direction we should take with housing development in Vernon County, or this is we would have a better idea, I think, of what our role could be in supporting.
Yeah, because right now we don't really have
We
a clue.
assume, and yeah.
The Comprehensive Planning Commission right now, that housing is an element with theirs, so they are getting feedback from residents additionally through surveys, so that information can be utilized too.
Makes it cheaper.
I think Gilbert may have had one recently too, so you might be able to contact Josh Finch and see if he's got any recent data that can fill that gap a little earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a meeting with him later today, so I can actually find that out.
Oh.
Yeah, so just an update back on the housing study, but I'll keep discussion going with the committee on that and where we're sit with that. And then just overall, for grants, we're managing 12 grants, 9 of which are federal grants. That total around $3 million. That's grants we've been awarded and we're managing those. Most of them are multi-year grants. I'll be closing some of them up this year. Pending applications out there, total 1.4 million that I'm waiting to hear back on. If for anyone who's new, if you want more information on like, hey, what grants are we managing and what grants did you apply for? I'm happy to connect with you and I'll go over that in more detail.
Would it be possible to do a running total for the year of grants we got?
But in my report, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, just sometime it'd be cool to see how much
Yeah.
grant money we actually got for stuff.
Now you want
'Cause
to
right now, I mean, if you guess like last year, what was it, 3 million, 4 million?
Well, so so last year I brought in, or the grants I wrote totaled a little over 1 million.
Okay,
But the county departments, they all also write their own grants. So I would say right now, I couldn't give you that number without going to talk to,
each
because of
department.
our financial system, each department. But we definitely, with the new ERP system, that will be much easier to report for me to go. In total, the county brings in this much in
Right.
federal, state, local dollars.
That'd be awesome to see that, just to.
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah.
But I could work on.
Well, you don't have to
take
do
a
it now.
little
If you
time.
just, well, just wait until you get the system, but just at some point, like,
So, no, I'll work with finance and so forth and see if I can
Yeah.
get that report for next time.
Mhm.
Yeah, at least put report on
And it's just
23.
things like hazmat and emergency management has,
Mhm.
yeah, everybody. Dan.
So my next agenda item is the 2024 Community Development Grant applications. I just, the town of Webster stopped by and handed me this extension request for their 2023 grant award. So for all the newer faces here, the county, we, in 2023, launched a community development grant program where our local governments throughout the county are the only eligible applicants, but they can apply for up to $10,000, and there is a 1-to-1 match on that for projects that will help boost economic development and resiliency in their communities, or just make an overall positive impact to their community. So last year we awarded we received 18 applications. We were able to award 15 of them. We had more asks, right, for funding than we had funding available. They had 1 year. They have 1 year to finish their projects. So June 15th of this year. The town of Webster, they are putting in all their new fire signs, but 200 of them have not been delivered yet, and they don't anticipate those being delivered until the end of May. And they will need time to send their crews out to do that. So they're asking for a 90-day extension. Technically, like, this is funded through our whole chunk funding that we receive, which our finance committee has oversight of. So I officially have to take it to them for extension or discussion of this extension. So do I need action from this committee or just a general take it to finance?
Why can't we just recommend it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, show the committee support for extending it.
And is there support to extend that for 90 days? How does the committee feel? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that they can't control when they
Reasonable.
sign, so.
But I suppose statute training bill form a motion.
Yeah.
Fine. And they're.
Second.
For 90 days.
All those in favor of
Wait a
extending,
second. Oh, okay.
all those in favor of extend, or any more discussion about that? No? All those in favor of extending it for 90 days, say aye.
I.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes.
And I will let them know I still have to get approval from finances committee as well, but before I give them the green light on that one. So the 2024 Community Development Grant, in your email packets and in your super copies, for everyone who's newer to this program, I did include the application. You could just, and especially the front page is the guidelines, when the applications were due and so forth. What we do next, and then there's your community development grant list here. This listed all of our applicants that we received, 1 asterisk next to their names. So the town of Clinton and the village of Ontario are new applicants to this program. They did not apply last year. Everyone else is returning. So our total grant request amount is 100,140, and we have 150,000 to loan out. So we'll talk about that balance here in a little bit. Estimated total project cost based on all their applications was over $776,000.
You use the term loan out. Is this a loan or is this grant?
This is a grant.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I misspoke there. We did receive 1 ineligible applicant, and I am looking for the committee's guidance on how to approach this, or if you agree with how I'm recommending to approach this. So DeSoto Public Library submitted an application. They are not an eligible applicant. It notes that on eligible applicants on our grant guidelines very specifically nonprofits, businesses, individual schools and so forth are not eligible applicants. It is the municipalities.
Does their municipality have a grant in here or an applicant?
They
application?
don't, and they were not aware that they submitted an application.
Okay.
So nonprofits and so forth can partner with their local government to submit for funding for a project, but the local government has to be the actual applicant.
I don't know how long ago, but the Vernon County owned the museum. Does DeSoto own the library? Because that was a technicality that we had to work with.
Municipalities unaware.
Well, let me,
The municipality,
The municipality.
they're unaware, yeah.
yeah, and the municipality, I personally don't think we should go into those weeds.
I know.
I mean, I would have no problem having it sent back to the municipality and say,
Yeah.
hey, will you support this? And if so, fill out the paperwork.
And then the total library request the city of or town of
Yeah,
Soto for the money, and then
That's,
they can come to here to get it.
yes. And if this, if they don't want to do that, then let's just
not our
put it as.
problem. Yeah.
But if we go into those weeds, that's a precedence that we got to follow forever. And then you can imagine what's going to come from there.
Ban books.
Well, the question I have is, this is probably ruffle some feathers, but Old Settlers Overlook is owned by the DOT. It is the most heavily used park in Vernon County.
Huh.
All right, so it averages 10 cars an hour. It's just heavily used there, but it's owned by the DOT. So is this would that be eligible to work with the DOT to write a grant here with them, or is that keep your hands off?
I think whatever township would have to.
Yeah.
It's in a
Township doesn't own it. DOT owns it.
I get that, but it's in their township, isn't it?
It is in Bergen Township.
I think Bergen Township would have to do that for that.
So they could do that for that
Yes.
if they wish. Is that how that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, I think that a municipality has to do the thing. And then we'll review it and we'll see if it meets the criteria of it, but
Okay,
but I don't, I see what you're saying, that they don't physically own it, but it's in their jurisdiction.
okay.
So I think it'd go under their stuff, I would think.
So we did have an applicant who did go about this the right way, a nonprofit who worked with the town of Christiana. And the town of Christiana backed this project and supported and submitted the application with their input, right? So it's a true partnership. That was done correctly through the town of Christiana. This did not take the correct route. The deadline for the applications was April 19th. So if I go back and say, you're not an eligible applicant, if you partner with Village of DeSoto, we're essentially saying we're extending their deadline for that.
Well, or
Was that
submit it for the 2025 budget.
submitted on time though? It was. So therefore, it's just, we need more information, which is,
But we would need it before we start reviewing,
right.
which we need to be bringing a recommendation back to this committee for who we want to award and how much at the June meeting.
Right.
So pretty much by May 15th, I would need.
Right.
Okay.
That's what everybody agree with that or not? The issue is
And then the opportunity.
it missed the deadline to get it corrected,
Yeah.
but it was submitted on time.
Yeah.
So we could give them till like May 15th to
I can be the way on it.
Or 14.
or the 14th.
Yeah.
We'll give you 24 hours to get that straight.
We don't have to vote on that. That's just,
I don't,
I'd say let them go back,
Normal guidelines, I would recommend you put it in a motion.
okay.
but
I
I
think
would,
so.
I would see if, City of DeSoto brings it back to us first, and then we make that.
Well, I don't know. We are allowing them to go beyond the extend the
Right.
deadlines. I think we have to
Next
say
month,
that's
I think.
okay.
The thing is we are actually going to be reviewing them before
Okay.
like May 15th. We're going to pick some of you guys, some new people
Oh, you do a review.
to do a review,
Yeah.
to review all of these. And then it comes back to the meeting in June to actually vote on whether we're going to approve them or not, or which ones we're going to approve.
Does this risk like junking up the gears far more than is necessarily worth it? Versus
I
just
do-
saying, wait until 2025 and you get the appropriate channels.
I mean, absolutely, that would be the easiest route to take, would be wait until the next year. However, we're not guaranteed this funding again, next year. I also, whatever we do, we just have to like consider that like moving forward, you know what I mean, in all fairness. So think about long-term, if we do get to continue this grant program. If you told me to go back to them and work with the Village of DeSoto, and if you can resubmit your application, I wouldn't get the review committee together until after May 15th or whatever their deadline was. Like, they would have to have it back to me before we start reviewing.
They should be able to have it done by next meeting, shouldn't they? Because I mean, they've already done the paperwork to apply for
Yeah,
it.
it's 2 weeks.
But we have to review, like subcommittee to review all the applicants prior to the
May
next
15th. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like that's a finite window in the terms of local government.
I'm sure they'd have to meet with who is it again? DeSoto?
Yeah.
So they would have to pass it probably in their meeting minutes, correct?
Yeah.
So you'd have to factor that in
Yeah.
when that meeting is.
Correct.
Like
that might be their policy. Like, I don't need it passed that they can apply. I don't need a resolution. I need a match commitment letter, which can come from the library,
Sure.
that match can come from any source really, but yeah, their policy might be this has to go through our village board in order to partner with this nonprofit, most likely. So that is something I could figure out. It may not be an option.
Odds are they might not even be able to do it in time. It's for us to even set that precedent.
I can't help but think that if we make an exception for one, we're gonna have to make an exception for all in future. And although my heart goes out to, I love libraries. The thing is like you said, there's maybe the community, the village board has to pass this, and then, and then don't forget the library has a board. I mean, it's
Could I
too
also share
complicated.
one more thing for
Okay.
discussion? Because we have $150,000 to give and we have less than that in requests, I was gonna suggest we open up another application period in the fall. So that could be something where I could direct,
There you
if
go.
the committee was on board with doing.
Channels.
Yeah.
What specifically are you asking this committee to do at this time regarding this issue? So
She just wants guidance to know what she should do.
on the DeSoto.
The DeSoto library,
The library application.
So I think if we're gonna if we're gonna try to do another one, let's not muddy it up.
That's right. I agree.
So, that just, we don't have to do anything with it, then it just is not.
They're ineligible
Yeah.
now.
Do we want to, I'm gonna say maybe in June, we formally decide if we want to open up another application period, or do we want to formally determine that now?
Let's determine it now.
Well, we will have extra funds, right?
Yeah, we have 50
So
cents.
if we are gonna have funds, I mean,
Yeah.
it's located on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to approve that now,
Yes,
or you want to wait till next?
I'd have to have a motion to,
I move that we approve that 50,000 for the next round of applications this year,
that's gonna start sometime in the fall.
fall application.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll
You
second
can
it.
put a firm date on that, like October 1st deadline, or
Are we making a motion to do it, or are we making a motion to add it to next month's agenda?
To do it.
To do it. Yeah.
We would need to, we need to have it available for public.
Can I just can we do that? I mean, can we actually, I was gonna say, if it's not on agenda,
The agenda is 2024 Community Development Grant.
next month.
Review list, discuss and determine action for ineligible applicant, identify subcommittee.
my only concern, Mr. Chairman, if we're pushing really what the agenda really intended, I think we would get called on that. So.
Okay, that might, it's an agenda item then.
Next week. And I'll go.
Next week, next month.
Yeah.
I will let them know, they're not eligible. However, the committee is gonna discuss next month if we're gonna open up another application
Good.
period in the fall. And I'll get back.
Perfect.
And explain, the whole
Okay.
criteria. Yep.
Thank you for that guidance.
Hate to get kicked off before you even get started. That'd be embarrassing.
Then just lastly, so I put the review process that we followed last time in here. it's a little extensive, but I just like to make sure it's all fair and, cross our Ts and dot our Is. So the staff on the review committee will be myself and Amanda and then Larkin. Christina was on it last time. And then last year we looked for 2 members of the committee, preferably either like one at least being a board supervisor and the other could be a citizen member or 2 board supervisors to join us. And what that would entail is a meeting to really go over the applications and your assignments. Then you read through those applications on your own and score them. And then we come together and we review the scores and discuss if there's big discrepancies in the scores. We'll have discussions around that and then finalize our list of recommendations to bring forward to this committee for approval in June of who we're going to award funding to and how much. Anyone interested in joining the review committee?
I'm always eager.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
I guess you're the other member.
No. No, thank you.
I'm making it as painless as possible.
Anybody else want to be another reviewer?
Make a motion to nominate someone.
I think we need to chair the committee to be a good one for that.
Well,
That's what I just said.
I think I'm busy at that.
It's got volatile.
What is being asked again? You just want to review the applicants coming in, is that it?
Yep, so we're forming that subcommittee to be the ones to actually review and score the applications and then bring our recommendations for funding.
I'll volunteer to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, guys.
I'll be reaching out to both of you then for
Okay.
availability. And that's all from me, unless anyone has questions.
All right. I guess it's Larkin's turn.
So, general updates for me. I started on Monday. There's not a whole lot to report on from the past month. But I've been going through orientation and you've been really taking me through a lot of the department specific and job specific, kind of getting started there. And then I have a couple trainings coming up this month. So next week I'll be at a basic economic development conference up in Eau Claire, and getting a lot of kind of like the state resources and everything there. And then at the end of the month, we haven't finalized it, but I'm looking at going to more of like a driftless oriented economic development meeting there. So hoping to make a lot of good connections and get a lot of information. And that's great.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Good. All right. Any questions for her? No? Hannah, what do you got for us?
Well, I'll make this painless, hopefully. So, if you guys look at your flyer in front of you, just real quick, these are just educator highlights. So last month in April, we had an IME club. It was articulating your company's purpose for food and farming businesses, which was really aligns to Vernon County. And that's with partnership with Vita and Sue Noble over at the Food Enterprise Center. And so this month we'll be having another one and it's building your brand. And I'm actually teaching that one. So that's next Wednesday, May 8th, from 6 to 7:30. 5:30, you can come beforehand if you want for networking and stay a little after if you would like. That goes roughly till 8 for a networking post. So, and it's free. There's usually water, some refreshments.
Where's that gonna be at again?
The Food Enterprise Center.
Gonna be there?
Yep. Yep. And then I attended for professional development, the talent development conference that Department of Workforce Development puts on each year. So they've had it the last 2 years in La Crosse. Next year, they're moving it to Milwaukee. But it goes over statewide trends, things that are going on out of the governor's office right now. And so I attended that, learned a lot of things to bring back here for Vernon County, especially the governor's task force on artificial intelligence that he's newly formed. So that they are going through. So that is a kind of a big development within workforce development. They believe in the next year that it'll be assimilating more into work environments. So just something to be aware of, a moving trend, and how that is going to affect the state of Wisconsin, including Vernon County. And then we had, Viroqua got to host the through UW Extension, through my office, we were able to host a broadband workshop last month for the BEAD funding. The challenge period is open for it now. And the ISPs or internet service providers that we have in Vernon County, those that were eligible to apply. So they're going through that process right now, kind of getting to challenge map jurisdiction with things. So where they have basically said, this is what we see in Vernon County, and this is the eligible areas that you still have to put fiber optics in for that internet for all movement. It was really good. So I will say the week before we had ours, they were in Green Bay and they had about 43 people. We had 33 people at ours. So I take that as a win personally, because we're obviously a lot smaller than Green Bay. So, and just looking ahead, so I am on a rural housing research team through Extension, and we're looking at different aspects. I was wrote in for the innovation grant to provide a regional rural housing summit, and I'm planning on having it in 2025. It'll be hosted here in Vernon County. So I'm starting to look at locations for that and what that looks like. I'm working with some area partners to pursue an EPA community change grant to provide education on the current green energy movement that's going on in the state, between wind energy, solar, things like that, and water resources, how it may affect those, and how we can remain true to Vernon County's goals, and having our organic land and stuff like that, while also being able to implement some of these, so that would help residents with utility bills, things like that. So among a multitude of other factors. So that's just a really, really brief high level overview. And not to bore you, because EPA stuff can get a little in the weeds there. There is, at the end of the month, the Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities Conference. I am attending that. That's coming up May 30th and 31st in Platteville. And so that is going to be an immersive experience. So we get to go, all of the sessions will be in businesses throughout the downtown area in Platteville. So it'll kind of just teach us a little bit more of the Driftless area and understanding. The goal is eventually, I work with the statewide specialist who coordinates this. So the goal is eventually to bring it back to the Driftless area in the coming years, and with hopefully Vernon County being a whole. There's some things we need to work through, like hotel space and stuff like that. So, and then on the 20th, I didn't get the flyer to you guys in this. I just got approved yesterday and sent to me, but I will be assisting Crawford County with a small business workshop roundtable discussion that they're going to have. So they're inviting people. It's going to be hosted in Crawford County and Gays Mills, but it's for all the surrounding communities and counties. And it's hosted by Driftless Development down there, their EDO, and it's in partnership with Cooley Cap, WIBIC, SBDC, or the Small Business Development Center. I know I'm saying acronyms that you probably may or may not know. So if you don't, please stop me and I will explain them. So, and then, I can't remember the other one. Southwest Wisconsin. Connect Communities at Gays Mills is the other one. So, but that's just targeting current business owners that are small brick and mortar ones, or small farmers, and then aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to take the next step. So it'll just kind of be a roundtable discussion for that. Yeah. The Wisconsin Rev community site visits will begin later this month, first part of June. So looking forward to that. Hillsborough is committed to it. Still trying to work through one last commitment, hopefully on this round for this inaugural program that's coming in. And then there's just the cows training on the 16th or 17th, 16th in Prairie du Chien. Yeah. So it's cows training, but that's how we say the acronym, but it's county officials workshop. And so the local government extension has a local government programming. And so it's for any county official that they can attend. So, yep, that's my plug for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's kind of covers it. That's enough.
Oh, wow.
That's a snapshot though.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, I can touch on that too. So the Comprehensive Planning Commission has an existing conditions report. We completed a survey on April 15th. And so there's information from that along with some of the current landscape research that they've already done. So it is a larger document to go through, but with comprehensive planning, it covers 9 elemental areas, and that ranges, one of them being economic development. So it would be beneficial for the committee to review that document, and it allows you also to, during this time, to provide any feedback if you see areas that you don't see information being set on that is representative of your area.
I did ask Amy if, she would make copies for all of us, because I need to think written, elaborate and stuff. But she says it's an enormous.
It is. So Matthew Albright, over the zoning administrator, he does have copies in the zoning office that they have hard copies for. And we've done that because we did include Amish into this survey system with it. So it was sent out to all the 5 bishops in the county. And so we have copies available for them as well. So we just went ahead and they're also available for the townships that.
Is there enough to bring enough for us next meeting?
I certainly can get that done.
Or
email
too? It's on already.
Yeah, the QR code goes directly to the PDF that's updated on the county's website. So if you wish to just read a digital copy of it, that's fine. Otherwise, I can make sure I can get to grab copies from that.
Drool on his finger.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey.
We're getting close to the end.
Thomas.
One thing that.
Yeah.
Just ask here. You guys did have 644 responses.
Yes.
Well, survey results you guys will probably be putting up.
Yeah, which is a really good turnout too, because our target area that we had to get at like a minimum, I think was like 400 and some, 460 or something like that. So we surpassed that, and we were really excited about that. So it has coverage from all across the county. It's not just centralized to one area or the other. So it gave a really good overview of what residents are seeing in their communities.
All right. Does anybody want to give us any agenda items for our next meeting?
I'd have 3 written down that just came that I would just like to recap. One is the community development grant recommendations for award for 2024. So the subcommittee will make those recommendations. This committee will determine and take action on whether or not we're going to open up a fall application period with the remaining funds we have for that grant program. And then one other partner presentations. So this committee contributes to tourism and economic development entities we budget for that. It's around 15,000. And every year they come and present, take about 5 minutes to present what they do with that money, how they promote Vernon County and so forth. And then after all the presentations are done, typically the following month, we take action on what we're going to award. And that's what I include. This would be for 2025. That's what I then budget for 25. So the 2024 awards have already been determined last year and part of the budget. So my question to you is, I think we have around 10 almost partners that come and present. One time we did it all in one meeting and it was a little long. So last year we split it over 2 months, June and July. What would the committee like to do?
Split it.
I think so.
Split it.
Normally the meetings aren't this long either.
Oh, they are.
They are.
They are.
They have been?
Yeah.
It seems like what else?
Yeah.
Noon or noon.
Yeah, I always.
Well, when we got things to,
Yeah.
get through.
I just want to know how many people want to hear about pollinators. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
We've been putting you on for 6 months.
No, that's okay.
If you can do like a 3-minute thing about pollinators, we can put that on the agenda.
Just 3 minutes though.
Yeah. Okay, I can do 3 minutes.
All right, well, we can.
I
put
can't
that on.
do 3 hours, that's for sure.
No, 3 minutes. 3 minutes to talk about the butterflies.
Well, there's more than
And bees.
And bees.
Yeah, bees.
Hummingbirds.
Anyway. Yeah.
That's all I
And
have for
bats.
Does anybody else have anything they want to put out there that we want to talk about?
That's great.
I'd like to see us set a date for us all to visit our business incubator out in the NCR building.
We do that.
That's something that maybe
We did
Amy
that.
or
We did that.
Hannah could reach out and see if they would be available or,
Oh, yeah.
To talk to Sue.
yeah, like an educational visit that we could swing by. sometime.
Oh, sure. She'll be happy to do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
When were we last? Weren't we just out there like 3 months ago?
I think it was like a year and 3 months ago.
Yeah, more than a year ago.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, it was
Really? Around a year
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah.
Was it canceled or something? Because we had set it up.
No, that was, the bars, Go Mackerel. Weren't we gonna do Go Mackerel? And that got canceled, I thought.
Well, anyway, we
So
did
a
go
lot
out there in
changed.
the couple.
and it would be a good tour. So I'll talk to Sue
Okay.
and we'll get something. Is there a debate that you guys would have
Meeting.
Yeah, typically we,
for next month? So I'm
Well, I would,
clarifying.
We meet in the conference room and then we tour.
I think it would be something after the meeting, if she could do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, June, July, if she could do one of those dates, I think that would work out good.
Okay.
It's always good.
Well, it allows us to make better decisions if we know more what's going on
That's
in our
right.
community.
That's
So
right.
if we've got 28 businesses out there, if we're looking at grants and financing for other things,
Mhm.
you know, we don't want to duplicate our efforts. So I think it's good to know what we got going there. Right.
Anything else that anybody wants to have a next meeting? Does anybody want to give me a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Or we don't need a
Here we
second.
go, Karen.
All right, thank you guys so much.
yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate the fact that we got some good work done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did good.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Can I give you something? No, sure.